Now that we have our oil pastel paper in proportion to our image, what I want to do next is finish the math sheet. So let's move that aside for now. Down on this side, here's what I've done. We need to get the rule of thirds grid onto this sheet of paper right here. So I have the decimal, the fraction, the decimal, the fraction, since our ruler is in fractions, not decimals. But our calculator is decimals, not fractions. So I took my 13, I divided it by 3 so we can get our thirds, and it's 4.33, and then I multiplied it by 2 to get the second line, and that's 8.66. To get the number on our ruler, I used this sheet right here because I have all the sixteenths divided to show the decimals, the fractions, and here the decimals. So I look at 0.33, which is basically 33 cents, and I come down my decimal side over here and I say, here's 31 cents, here's 37. I think 0.33 is closest to 0.312, and here we have 5/16. So I brought my whole number down, 4 and 5/16, representing my 0.33. Down here, I have $8.67 basically. So I bring my $8 down, and I need to find what fraction is closest to my 0.667 decimal. Well, it's more than 62, it's less than 68, but it's closest to 68. So I'm going to say that's 11/16 right there. So I have 8 and 11/16. Over here for my final short side, I took 11, divided it by 3. I came up with 3.667. I multiplied that answer by 2 here, and I came up with 7.33. Again, looking at this decimal chart over here, I know that my 0.667 is closest to 11/16. So I have 3 and 11/16. Over here is 7 and 5/16. Now I need to use these numbers from my ruler, and I need to get my rule of thirds grid drawn very, very lightly onto my oil pastel paper. I'm going to move everything aside, grab my mechanical pencil, and I can see my first line. This is my 13-inch side right here. My first one is going to be at 4 and 5/16. So here's 4 inches. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16. I make a mark there. And 8 and 11/16. So here's 8. I know a ½ inch is 8/16. So 9, 10, and 11 is right here. In order to make a straight line, I need to put 2 marks. So again, I start with my 4 and 5/16. I know 1/4 inch is 4/16, so 5 is right after that. 8 1/2, 9, 10, 11, right there. And now I pick up my ruler, and ever so lightly, maybe you can, maybe you can't see that. If you can't see that, that's a good thing, but I can. Because that's how light it is. So I drag my pencil across there, and now I have this divided into thirds. I'm going to turn this to my 11-inch side. Again, these are my proportions. Your proportions are not necessarily going to be 11 by 13, unless, of course, these numbers are the same. But everybody has different numbers, which is why you should have done the math previously. Here we have our 11 side is 3 and 11/16. Now remember, 8/16 is a ½ inch. So I know that I can go to 3 and 1/2 inches, 9, 10, 11 is right here, and then 7 and 5/16. A 1/4 inch is 4/16, because 4 divided by 16 is, or simplified, is 1/4. And here we have 5/16. Again, to make a straight line, I'm going to move my ruler down to the bottom, and 3 and 11/16. Here's 8, 9, 10, 11. There's my 16ths. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16 right there. And again, I'm going to connect these 2 dots. You've all played connect the dots before, so this shouldn't be new to you. Hold your ruler down, hold your paper down, and draw a very light rule of thirds line right here. And that line, it kind of skipped a little bit right there, so I am going to come back, kind of try to tag that. There we go. The other thing I want to do once I have my rule of thirds grid on my paper is please turn it over and write your first and last name on it. The reason we did not write our first and last name first, and I'm going to put 3, 4 here because I teach 8th grade during periods 3 and 4, so this is going to be my one demonstration for both classes. The reason I didn't want to put my name on it first this time is because if you really goofed up and perhaps maybe you made your lines too dark, you could try it a second time on the back of the page. So that is our math. Now we have our oil pastel paper ready to go. It has its rule of thirds grid on it. We've got our image printed, and I'm ready to set up my board and get ready to start my project.